Heiankyo Alien. This common Game Boy cartridge is actually an update to an arcade machine from the 70s, which most people here in the States have never played. And that includes myself. This game, nevertheless, is highly influential. It's the first of a sort of genre of puzzle-like games where the goal is to trap wandering enemies in holes and seal them up. The most popular game like this here would be Lode Runner. However, Heiankyo Alien predates that by several years. You can even see echoes of Bomberman in here, which is not surprising because Hudson also had the license to Lode Runner in addition to making Bomberman. Making things even more interesting, Hudson also made a game called Crater Maze that came out here in North America that plays very similarly to Heiankyo Alien. So it's not very far-fetched to assume that Hudson was inspired by games like this when they made games like Bomberman or Battle Lode Runner or anything like that. I should mention that Hudson's not the original author of Lode Runner. That's a Broderbund game originally for the Apple. Now, when you're first playing this game, your instinct might be to open a hole and hope that the enemies are going to follow you, but the enemies in Heiankyo Alien kind of bounce around semi-randomly, so your best bet really is to open holes at junctions in the level where you think that you can block off the aliens and kind of head them off. Open a few holes, and then when one falls in, you run back to where that hole was and seal it up. And you've got to be quick when you seal the holes back up, because if you take too long, the alien pops back out and bites your face off. You also have to be wary of aliens traveling in pairs, because if another alien touches the hole with a struggling alien in it, it actually helps the struggling alien out of the hole instantly and the hole disappears. So you have to be on the lookout for that too. As you might imagine, the Game Boy port of Heiankyo Alien adds all kinds of new elements to the mix. For example, there are these lanterns that I'm standing on right now that open and close, and if the lantern is closed you can go stand on it. If it's open, it acts like a barrier. And when they're open, the aliens can't go through them as well. It also introduces other hazards, such as these metal plates you can see in the upper left and lower right corners that you can't dig on. And as you progress through the game, there are even more surprises that it introduces. Every few levels, you're treated to a cute intermission, kind of like in Pac-Man. Yep, when you said cutscene before the 90s, this is pretty much what most people thought of. So yeah, this cart plays a really good game of Heiankyo Alien. It's a very tasteful update where the new graphics and the new music don't intrude on the classic gameplay. In fact, all the new additions enhance the game very nicely to the point that I would much rather play this than the original 1979 release. And the game gets rather hectic. Past about level 6 it really starts ramping things up, although I believe the game only has 12 levels total. Okay, well that's enough of that. Let's go check out the old version. This is how the game looked more or less in its 1979 incarnation in the arcades. As you can see, the core gameplay is exactly the same, although gone are all the extra elements such as the metal plates or lanterns or anything like that. All you get here are a bunch of black and white walls and a bunch of aliens. So it's still a fun scoring game, but it doesn't really have the charm that the remake has. It does have a neat story that goes along with it, where the game was made by a bunch of college students and it set off a bidding war among arcade game companies. You can read all about it in an article published at Hardcore Gaming 101. I really recommend that article. It's a really fascinating read. Okay, well, that's Heiankyo Alien, a game that I recommend for people who really like early arcade machines or kind of maze games or Lode Runner or Bomberman or Crater Maze or stuff like that. It's a rather cheap game, going for about $5, so if you're just a little bit curious about the game, you know, it's not much of an investment. Thanks for joining me for this review. You know, this is the second review of my month of Nintendo reviews, with the first being Firepower 2000 on the Super Nintendo. So if you don't want to miss these, be sure to subscribe. I'll see you next time on Cool and Unusual Games.